Hello everyone, welcome back to another session of Demo Mondays. It's a video series broadcasted on Mondays where I invite founders and creators of different Amazon seller tools, and these people present their products. And today my guest is Sellics. And Sellics is presented by founder Franz Jordan. Hello, Franz.
Hello, Augustus. Great to be here again.
So what Sellics is and what problems does it solve for Amazon sellers?
Sure. So Sellics is an all-in-one software for Amazon sellers, which means that it's a tool that combines all the features that a seller needs to be successful on Amazon in one suite, essentially. So you don't need to use multiple tools, but you have one tool that combines everything that that you would need on a regular basis as a seller. So what kind of features am I talking about? Well, essentially everything, right? So a profit tracker. We have a PPC manager that allows you to manage and automate your sponsored products sponsored products. We have a ranking optimization feature, a review monitoring, a spy, inventory management, product research. So really, everything that you need as a seller, maybe from the very beginning of, researching a new product to then scaling an existing seller account integrated in one software.
Thanks. And since it's a very universal tool, it sounds like it, could you tell what kind of Amazon sellers are you targeting? Should they be beginners, advanced, or it fits to everyone?
If you look at the features, it really targets everyone. So we have a lot of sellers, they're probably not sellers, a lot of users that use Sellics just to research their very first product on Amazon. So those very much private label beginners. But then the majority of sellers is certainly sellers that do have a couple of products that are maybe a bit more advanced, and they want to take their business to the next level.
Sounds interesting to see what's inside the Sellics. But before we go into the screen sharing, can you also tell what marketplaces are covered by your tool? Because we have a lot of international sellers listening to this.
Yeah, so that's a great question. It's a bit a pity that we do the webinar now, because at this point Sellics covers the US, right? So Sellics.com covers the US, Sellics.co.uk covers the UK market, and then we have a Marketplace Analytics, which is the German brand, right? So marketplace-analytics.de. Now, I hope that when a lot of your folks will listen to this webinar, we are planning a huge overhaul, and so starting from January 18th, it will be possible to use Sellics, just the one website to cover all markets. So no matter where you sell, whether it's in Europe, the US, India, Australia, all marketplaces will be covered with one tool.
Yeah, sounds great. So from the end of January 2018, it will be one single website, and it will cover North America and Europe, right? Does it cover Mexico and Canada?
Yeah, Mexico, Canada, the US, all of Europe, India, Australia. So everything, Brazil. So yeah, no matter where you sell, you're gonna be able to use Sellics.
And linking your seller account with Sellics, is it how long does it take to pull the first data, and how does it work, the linking of the account?
So it's very simple. When you set up your Sellics accounts, you will need to connect your Seller Central account with your Sellics account, and this takes the setup probably takes a minute and a half. So essentially, you only need to enter your Seller Central credentials, and then we will pull all the data. This depends a bit on the size of the account, but typically takes less than 20 minutes. So usually, when you set up the account, you connect your Seller Central account. After a few minutes already, you will see the first data, and it will be your data, your products, your sales, your profits, everything. And then for larger account, it may take a bit longer, but most will be done in, I'd say, 5 to 15 minutes.
So let's do the demonstration of Sellics.
Sure. So here we are in the Sellics, what we call cockpit. So the cockpit is the starting point in Sellics. Right after you log in, you will arrive on this cockpit here. And the idea of the cockpit essentially is to give you the bird's eye view of your entire Amazon account. So it's a summary of everything that's relevant for you as an Amazon seller. Here at the top, first of all, you have your sales and your profits. Obviously, this is, I guess, the two most interesting numbers for you as a seller, right? So sales and profits for the last 30 days, and you can see exactly how you developed. You also have a performance table that summarizes all those metrics again, right? So sales, margin, profits, units, and orders, and you can also see right there, the numbers of promo codes that have been redeemed. So if you work a lot with promo codes, you can see the promo codes here right away. So this is, all the, let's say, the hard business metrics. And then here in the second row, we have 3 more widgets. So the keyword ranking index is essentially summarizing your organic rankings. So here in this example, you would see that, rankings have been declining quite a bit. So this is certainly, not a good development, but it's important to see this as an overall metric for your account, right? So how is the visibility of all your products developing? Then we have the reviews. So all new reviews that you've received over the past 7 days, you can see here in this case there's a 1 5-star review. And then finally, we have PPC, so your clicks and your cost for sponsored products. So that again, right away, you can see if there are any significant developments. Here you can see that over the past couple of days, it's been going up quite a bit. And then finally, when you scroll a bit to the bottom, you'll find a product table. So essentially a list of all your products that you're selling, including the sales trend for the past 30 days, the total sales, the revenue share, and then also the overall sales rank for. And so there, you have a list of all your products essentially starting from here, right? So that's the cockpit. I think what's great about the cockpit is, again, it gives you a great summary. So in fact, what a lot of our users do is they log in every morning and just at one glance, see if they need to take action someplace or if everything is going as they are hoping for, right? Another thing that people love about the cockpit is that it's very much customizable. So let's assume that you don't run any PPC campaigns, you don't run any sponsored products. Then you don't need this widget and you might as well just delete it. So you can just, click on this X here, it will delete the widget, and then you can, rearrange your own, build your own cockpit essentially just the way that you want to have it, right? So this is, people like this very much, that they can really create their own cockpit, they can, align and build it as they want, right?
And how do you add back the PPC?
Yeah, exactly.
How do you add it?
So here on the left side, if you click on more widgets, it will open the menu bar here, and there you can just choose the ones that you want to have, right? So clicks and ad spend, and then it's added back to your cockpit, right? So this is a cockpit. Again, this is the bird's eye view, and now the thing is that whenever you see something interesting, right? So for instance, if you see a new review, you want to drill deeper into the details, and you really want to figure out, what is this review? What product got it left for? And so the way we've solved this here in Sellics is you can just click on this widget here. So each of those boxes, we call them widgets. So you can just click on this widget, click here on view all reviews, and then it will take you directly to the review management feature in Sellics, where you'll then find the details and where you can then take action, right? So here in this case, this is the review management feature. You can then see all the details about the review. You can see it's a 5-star review. It got left on December 10th. That's a product that got reviewed. You can see the current count is 20 reviews with an average of 4.6. And you also have the entire review right here in Sellics. And now what you might want to do, if maybe not so much for positive reviews, but assume that this is a negative review, you most certainly want to leave a comment on Amazon. So you can just click here, comment on Amazon, and it will take you to the review on Amazon, where then you'll be able to leave a comment right away. This comment will then be visible for future users, right? So this is the workflow as we have it here in Sellics. Then once you've left the review, you can just add a note. So for instance, you can say, I commented, day on December 11, and I just saved a comment, so it will be an internal note. It's only going to be visible for you as a Sellics user. It's not public on Amazon. And then once you've done this, you can just set to done. You will be ticked off. Essentially, it's like a to-do list where you can just tick off all the new reviews and then label as I'm done. And then here in the done folder, you'll actually have all the done reviews essentially, right? So that's how the reviews reviews work. So let me just go back to the cockpit. So again, what's important to me is that people understand this connection between starting at the cockpit, clicking on the widget, and then being taken to the details to then have a more detailed view, right? So this works for all the widgets, in fact. So if you want to have a more detailed look at sales and profits, we just click on See Details, and then it will take us to what we call the profit dashboard. You will have a summary of all your sales and all your profits that you've made throughout the day, or in fact throughout whatever time frame you want to look at. So we just click here on See Details, and then we get to the profit dashboard. So the profit dashboard, as you might imagine from the name, essentially summarizes all your your profits, or calculates your profits essentially. So starting from the sales, so let's assume that you have a sales of 20, you have costs of 15. This leads to a total profit of 5, right? Or here, if we look at the weekly basis, if we have 5 sales of 581, we have costs of 571. That leaves us with a profit of, under this example. So this is an UK account, so everything is in pound, obviously. So what's great about the profit dashboard is that, first of all, it will split your sales by organic sales, PPC sales, and shipping sales, right? So whenever, if you run a lot of PPC campaigns, it's important to know how dependent you are on PPC. So right away here in this account, we can see that, we're making 43% of all of our sales products, all right? So we're very dependent on sponsored products. And then we also have, taxes, FBA fees, Amazon fees, PPC costs, the promo value. So if you work with like coupon codes, the shipping costs, and also the cost of goods. So these costs are all automatically deducted from your sales. And then it will calculate the profit and the profit margin. So we have a 2% profit margin here in this case, right? And
taxes, can you elaborate? What does it mean?
Yeah, so this is the VAT tax. So this is very much for European sellers. If you are if you're selling in Europe, what you typically have is you have the so-called gross sales. So this would be sales including VAT tax. Now VAT is then deducted, and you need to transfer it to the government. So it's kind of it can be considered as an expense in some way. This is why we have the taxes here. You can actually, you can set the tax rate for yourself. So in the UK, if the tax rate is 22, which I believe is the case, right? You can just set the tax rate to 22, and then the taxes will be adjusted accordingly.
And for US, do you take into consideration sales tax?
No, so in the US, we don't take into consideration sales tax because in the US, the sales numbers that we get from Amazon are already the net sales. So it does not include the sales tax. So there's no need to deduct it from the sales, right?
Okay.
So yeah, so that's essentially the point. I think what's great here is that, all of those costs here, taxes, FBA fees, Amazon, also PPC costs and promo value is calculated automatically. So you don't need to do anything. The only thing that you need to do as a seller, you need to enter cost of goods and shipping costs. Obviously, you don't need to. You can. This is optional, but this will make your results a lot more accurate, obviously. So all you need to do is in order to enter the cost here, just click on the My Cost tab, and then you will have all your products listed here, and then you'll be able to enter your cost of goods and also the shipping costs if you want to enter these, right? So you might just as well, you can enter any number here. Actually, you can also upload the costs here. So if you have a lot of products, you can just upload them, and then upload your costs for all your marketplaces at once, essentially. So then you're all set, and then finally, I mean, you have your your list of products down here, and then now you can run some more detailed analysis. So if you have all your products here, you can see exactly how much the sales, the units, the promo codes, and then you also have a more detailed breakdown of the calculation. So if you want to look why you're losing money here on this product, you can just click on the calculator here, and it will show you exactly all the single cost items for this particular product, right? So again, it will also show the PPC costs, the promos, and everything that's included right here. And this, I think, is very important because it might be possible that you run a profitable overall account, but most of the time it's true that some of your products are actually losing money, right? And so it's important to actually look at the margins on a product level, and this is what you can do here very, very well, right? Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, like I said, I mean, this works for all marketplaces. This is live, so every 5 minutes we will update the profit numbers. We will pull the numbers in here, and you will be able to see your profits live throughout the day. In fact, we also have an app for this. So we have an app for iOS and also for Android, where you can track your profits live throughout the day. It's a very cool thing. We just released it, I think, last week or the week before. So you can, instead of using the Amazon app to track your sales, you can use the Sellics app to track not only your sales but also your profits live throughout the day, and also see exactly which products are being sold live throughout the day. That's a thing in the app. So if you open the Amazon app, you just see the numbers, but you don't see which products are being sold on the day. And in Sellics, we will show you exactly the numbers, the products that are being sold live. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yep. So at the top, we have covered now cockpit and profits, and in total
and
reviews, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So there are a bunch of features, right? So what I like to do, let me just move into the PPC manager very quickly, because I think this is a very relevant feature, and then we can maybe run through the other features at a faster rate, because otherwise we'll be here for, I don't know, 2 hours or so. But the PPC manager is actually a very it's a very important feature in Sellics, because essentially it allows you to manage and also optimize your sponsored products campaigns. And it allows you to optimize them in a fully automated way. So what do I mean by this? Again, you connect your Amazon account through the Amazon advertising API to your Sellics account, and then we will pull all the data for you automatically here into Sellics. You have a bunch of ways how you can then manage and optimize your campaigns manually, right? So obviously, you have a summary of all your most important metrics here at the top, but then at the bottom in the table, again, you can drill down into individual campaigns. So you can sort using filters. So you might want to say, I want to see all campaigns that have an ACOS of more than 20%, for instance, right? And then instantly we'll drill down to those two campaigns here. And now we can essentially if we click on this campaign here, it will take us to the ad groups. There in the ad groups, we will be able to set the target ACOS. So we can say that, hey, the target ACOS for this campaign is 25%, for instance. And then in the calculation here, you will see the current ACOS that you have. We will automatically calculate the break-even ACOS based on the numbers in your profit dashboard, and then we will also display the target ACOS. And so we will always benchmark your current ACOS against the target ACOS. Which is very helpful, because right at one glance you'll see if you're actually profitable or not, right? And then again, you can drill down even further. So if you click on the ad group, it will take you to the keywords, and then here in the keywords again, you can then take action. So if we look at those keywords here, again, we have the break even ACOS and the target ACOS. So everything is green here, so we can see we're largely profitable here with a current ACOS of 4.9% compared to a target ACOS of 25%, right? So what we could do here now in this case is, if we say that, hey, we are so profitable, why don't we bid more? We can just click here on into the keyword bid, and then we can increase the bid to, let's say, 75 cents instead of 50 cents, for instance. We just hit save, and then those changes are automatically pushed to Amazon. need to log into your Seller Central account to manage your sponsored products, you can manage everything right here through Sellics. So you can also add keywords, research keywords, everything, create campaigns, pause campaigns, whatever it is you want to do, you can do it right here in Sellics. And so now the new feature that I want to show is the automate feature here at the top, because I think that this is a really, really cool feature that will not only save you a ton of time, but also lead to way better results with sponsored products. What do we mean by automate? Essentially, Sellics is now able to automate all your sponsored products campaigns. So you as a seller, you can set up some rules, and then we will manage your campaigns following those rules. Okay, so let me show you how this works. So you can just create a certain set of rules. Those are if-then kind of rules, right? So we have a few examples here. So if the ACOS is higher than 30%, after at least 25 clicks, you want to decrease the keyword bid by 30% up to a minimum bid of 20 cents, right? Or you can also say if you get less than 1,000 impressions after 7 days, right? So this typically means that you're not bidding enough, you're ranking somewhere on the last pages. Then you want to increase your keyword bid by 30% to increase the chances that you rank higher, right? So those are just some rules that you can just create by yourself, and then once those rules are created, you can just attribute those rules to certain campaigns, and then we will manage your campaigns following the rules that you have created here.
All right, and does this automated PPC management work if I don't have any rules? Does your system provide some kind of suggestions?
Yes, so we also do have some kind of suggestions, which you can find in our FAQ section here. So this is something that we will release, beginning of next year, where we will essentially have a wizard where you will be able to then just say, hey, I want to be very aggressive and I want to optimize for units, or I want to optimize for sales. And then we will set up all the management for you, right? So at this time it's very flexible, so you can just create whatever rule you want. So if we hit here a new rule, we can choose if ACOS or if revenue or if impressions or whatever it is. If the ACOS is below 20% after 20 clicks, or after 7 days, or certain numbers of orders or whatever it is, then we can increase or decrease the keyword bid, or we can also pause the keyword or move a search term to negative. So there's a bunch of things we can do here, and then those rules will be triggered automatically. But at this point, you still need to set up those rules yourself. As I said, we have an FAQ section here where we give you some best practices. So if you move into a PPC manager, there you'll find some best practices. There you can see ideal rule set recommendations, and we will give you some ideas and some tips how to use those rules, right? But at this point, it's not that it's not that we create the rules for you. You need to create them for yourself.
And these conditions, these rules are set for the ad groups, right? Yeah. Yes,
exactly. So you create a so-called rule set. So a rule set can consist of one or more than one rules, right? So here in this case, 3 rules combined in a rule set demo 2, and then you will apply a rule set to ad groups or to campaigns, right? So you can just you can go in here and then you can just select the ad groups that you wanna apply those rules for, and then those rules then will be applied for those ad groups.
All right, very, very complicated in the back end, but it looks like easy to use for the users.
Yes, well, we try to make it as easy as possible, right? But obviously, in the background, it's a super complicated system. So we've been working on it for quite some time. We've been testing it also very intensely with a lot of users, but because obviously, we feel that it's just really important that those rules work, because we're actively handling budgets of our customers and the bids of our customers. So we really want to make sure that that it works properly. So we've been testing it for quite some time. But the feedback that we get so far from our users is fantastic. It's overwhelming just by setting up some simple rules like this here, right? So if let's say for your auto campaigns, the biggest problems in auto campaigns is that you have so many search terms that are never generating any sale but constantly take budgets, right? And so by just setting up a rule like this, if you have 0 orders after at least 25 clicks, move the search term to negative. That means that essentially you will stop all search terms in your automatic campaigns if they do not generate at least 1 sale within 25 clicks. That is that's a very, very easy rule to set up, but it's super, super powerful because essentially, it stops the bleeding that you have if you have 20, 50, or 100 automatic campaigns, and you can't go through them manually. And then you just set up these rules, and automatically all the search terms that do not generate sales within 25 clicks will be moved to negative. And this happens every day. The software checks it every day, and not just like a human who goes in once a week or so, once a month, but the software does it every day.
And how do we know if the rules worked out or not? I mean, the
yeah,
result.
great question. I mean, so first of all, you have an action log here. So here in the action log, you will actually see all the things, all the changes that have been done through the rules. Okay, so you'll be able, so each line here is essentially a change that happened through the rule. So here you can see that, in the campaign baby carrier, in the ad group baby carrier, exact for the keyword baby front carrier, those have been the settings, right? And then because of the rule, the rule low impressions after 5 days got triggered, and the bid got increased from 62 to 65, right, on December 10th. So essentially yesterday. And now you have your list of of actions that have been triggered by the rule or by the rules automatically, right? Now, if you want to see, if it's not just working on from a technical point of view, because this one here is tracking whether the rules are actually working from a technical point of view. But if you want to track if they're working from a business point of view, in the sense of whether they're increasing your revenues or whether they're decreasing your ACOS, you can move over here to the Analyze tabs here at the top, and you can move over to the Analyze tab, and then you can look at each campaign's individually. And this is a really, I love this view here. I think it's it gives you so much transparency. And look at, let's say, costs over impressions, right? So two metrics that you can look at. So here you have the performance of your campaigns. And then right below it, you can find a chart that will automatically track all the changes that either you do manually or that have been done by the rules, right? So for instance, here in the first line, you can see all the every time that the bids have been increased, right? So let me just zoom in here a little bit. So whenever the bids are being increased, we will have this icon here. So you can see on here, November 11th, there were 22 bids increased. Then the day after, November 12th, 1 bid increase. Then 1 bid increase, 2 bids increase, and so on and so forth, right? And so now the thing is that, you can, all the changes here are tracked automatically for you. You don't have to do anything. Everything will be automatically shown to you in this diagram here whenever there's a change. And then you can see exactly how this impacts your performance, right? So if we see the costs are going up here, the question is, what happened? And so we can just click on this, this change here. So 1 bid increase. So we can just click here, and we can see that, the bid has been increased for the keyword baby carrier from 111 to 125, or for toddler carrier. Essentially, this has been triggered by a rule. And then essentially you can see that this obviously led to an increase in ad spend, right? And so now the question is, did it also lead to an increase in clicks? And yes, very much so. You can see that obviously you bid more, and so you get more clicks. Obviously you spend more, but you also get more, right?
Yes.
So this is a very good way
deep.
to.
Yeah.
Yes, this is very deep. So I think that this is really for the people who want to understand how the system performs. Who want to drill down to the lowest level. For advanced, for beginners, this is probably a bit too much. But for advanced sellers that really want to understand how the campaigns work, they can have a look here. Make sense so far?
Yes, of course. We talked a lot about PPC. It looks like one of the most important features.
Well, yeah, it's certainly a very important one, right? And especially, the thing that I like is that in the PPC feature, it really shows the power of having an all-in-one tool, because I just showed you the profit dashboard before, and now we will automatically show you the actual profit that you make with your PPC campaigns, right? So you don't have to do anything. You set up your profit dashboard, and then automatically, you just go into your PPC manager, and you will see how much profit you actually make per campaign. You see you lose 78 pounds here, 11 pounds here, 5 pounds here, 3 pounds here, and so on and so forth, right? And this is, this just shows the power of an all-in-one feature where, your profits are automatically shown to you in your PPC manager, right? Okay, what else? We have a bunch of features here, right? So we have the performance dashboard, which I think, again, is also a very cool feature, because here, it will show you sessions and conversion rates. So session and conversion rates, I think, are a very important feature, two very important metrics. And so now here in Sellics, you're actually able to look at sessions and conversion rates, both on the aggregated level, but also on the more detailed level, right? So you can see exactly, how did revenue develop? How did sales develop? How much did you increase in sessions? How did your conversion rate develop, right? So here you can see your revenues increased by 124%. But this is largely driven by your sessions, because your sessions increased by 128%, whereas your conversion rate dropped quite a bit, right? So those are just very important numbers to know, because it's always a question: if you grow, what was the reason for your growth? Is it more traffic, or is it better traffic, essentially, right? So those numbers are pulled for you automatically from Seller Central, and you can look at them, on a very high level, on a very aggregated level. You can see how sessions is developed, right? Then we also have, the inventory management. So the inventory management essentially, it gives you a quick overview of of your inventory levels, and when you need to reorder. So this, again, I think what's great about the inventory management is that it's very, it's very easy. It's very easy, and very in the usability. So essentially, what we do is, we take your current stock levels for each of your products. We take the current sales velocity, calculate the out of stock, the numbers of days until you're running out of stock, and now you may enter lead time, and then based on this, we calculate when you need to reorder, right? So let's assume that here in this case, we have 394 units in stock. We're currently selling 3.49 units per day. That means that we will run out of stock in 112 days. That means that if we have a lead time of 90, and you can enter any number that you want here, you can just enter 100 or 90, and then we will automatically calculate that if you need 90 days to reorder, and you're running out of stock in 112 days, you need to reorder in 20 days, 22 days at the least, right? So in 22 days you will need to reorder. And so you have a great overview. All those products here that say ASAP, those are already overdue, right? So you can see here, you're already out of stock, and you still haven't replenished. So this is, you definitely need to avoid this kind of situation, because if, I always say that if you get a negative review, your sales might drop by 5% or so, your sales drop by 100%. This is, you definitely want to avoid running out of stock here. And this is just a great way to show when, to keep an overview of your reorder pipeline. And in fact, we also have the inventory forecast here. So you can see that, within the next 30 days, you have 16 products that you need to reorder. This is massive, also in terms of cash flow, this might be something that you want to take into consideration, right? Another feature is the spy feature. And, I think this is a very well-known feature, so I don't want to go into the details. Essentially, what it does is it will track the sales for any product on Amazon. So you can just add any ASIN you want. And then we will track the sales for this ASIN based on the changes in stock levels, right? So here, for instance, if we have this product here, we can see that it's currently selling at 1.3 units per day. It's on a sales rank 7,900. So if we click on this product here to have a more, I think it's better to understand. So essentially, the yellow bars are the stock levels. And essentially what we do is we look at the stock level every day, and whenever we see a change in the stock level, then essentially we will assume that this is a sale. So if we, on December 5th, you have a stock level of 430 units, and then the day after you only have 429 units, then we will assume that you've sold 1 unit, right? So the inventory level dropped by 1 unit, and so we will assume that you've sold 1 unit on this particular day, right? So this is a great feature to either monitor your competitors or to get a or to research sales levels before you're sourcing products. So for product research and for competitor monitoring, this is a great feature, right?
And how do you add new ASINs?
That's again, it's very easy. I mean, you just go back here to the SPY, you click add products, and then you just enter the ASINs here. You hit load products, and then the ASINs will be added to your tool or to your account.
Okay. And how is there a limit? How many you can track?
Yeah, so there's a limit depending on your package. There's a limit, but typically, for most sellers, the limit is high enough. So the minimum is 100 products you can track, and then for depending on your plan, it goes up to 3,000 products actually.
Okay.
And then so finally, I mean, the feature that we have left is the rankings. I mean, obviously, rankings are a very important part in your Amazon business, right? So here you can see, the rankings. Again, we have the ranking index. So the ranking index just shows you, how you rank overall, how you rank for all the keywords. And now if you want to have a more detailed look, for this product, you can just click here on this button here, and it will take you to what we call the product dashboard. And so on the product dashboard, essentially you will have a more detailed look or a more detailed analysis of all those products that you're currently all the keywords that you're currently ranking for. So you click on the button here. Let's wait a second until it loads here. Well, other than that, in the meantime, I might just I just want to mention that you also have some product research functionalities here in Sellics. So if you hit on this part here on the plus, you also have some product research functionalities, right? So yeah, so here we are at the product dashboard. So this is the place in Sellics where you can drill down on a product on a very, very detailed level, right? And essentially, again, it starts with an overview. So you can see this is a product that we're currently looking at, and those are all the kind of ways how you can look at it on the product dashboard, right? So you can look at the keywords, you can do some on-page and content analysis, you can take notes, you can look at competition and so on. So I don't want to drill down into the details here, but I want to show you this page here where essentially, you can see exactly how this product ranks for the different keywords. So each color here is one keyword. The top line here would be the first rank on page 1, right? So this is where we all want to be. And then the last one here would be page 11. So we track all first 10 pages. And so now you'll actually be able to track the rankings for your for the keywords, right? So here for the baby holder, for instance, or baby carrier, that's that would be, or baby bag carrier, this would be the green line. So essentially, you can see your rankings here, exactly how they develop over time. Now you also have units and sessions here at the top, so you can see exactly on how many units you've sold, how many sessions you've had. You can look at your conversion rate. I mean, there's a bunch of things that you can look at on a very detailed, on a product level. Right. So this has been a very quick run through. So yeah, that's essentially it about Sellics. I don't know if you have any further questions.
Someone was asking, do you plan to integrate to other channels like eBay, Walmart?
So at this point, we don't have any plans to integrate into other channels. It might be, maybe probably not for the first half of 2018, maybe for the second half of 2018. But at this point, we're focusing very much on Amazon. We believe there's a huge potential on Amazon, and so we focus on which for most users, for most people actually in e-commerce, it's actually Amazon, right?
All right. So I wanted to ask about about the future roadmap, about the future features you're planning. Is there anything exciting or interesting?
Yeah, oh man, there's a lot of exciting stuff coming up. So we have a lot of things planned for the PPC manager. So the ultimate goal that we have in mind is that you can fully automate your sponsored products. So you just log into Sellics, you click one button, and then we will set up your campaigns. We will manage your campaigns, and we will make sure to hit the targets that you want to hit. Right. So you define the targets for us, and then we will hit those targets for you. So this is, if I look at 2018, this is certainly a huge thing. Then another thing that we have is the product roadmap, the product research feature. So we actually, we're currently collecting data already, and very soon we will release a very powerful product database. So you'll have like a million products with a sales rank history. You can sort it, you can filter it. So this is going to be really powerful to really find the best selling products. So we're looking forward to this. So this is certainly a big part. And then what else? Yeah, so like I said, it's going to be internationals. The tour starting in January. So this is also a big step for us, that you'll be able to track to switch between countries within the tool. So those are just a few things that we have in the pipeline for next year.
You said product database. Will you cover also all the marketplaces?
Yes.
No, that sounds cool. And the final question about the support. For me personally, support, how reliable is support? How correctly it's answering my questions is the most important part of using any service. So can you tell how fast do you reply to your users and so on?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so the way we handle most of our support is through a chat that you can find within the software, right? So in the lower right corner, you have a chat button, you open it, and then we'll open the chat. So it really depends a bit on the time that you're asking. If you're asking at the right time, you get an answer within, it's really live, literally live. You write the question, you get an answer right away. It depends a bit on where you're located in the world. So since we're based in Berlin, at this point we cover European working hours, right? So let's say 9 to 7 or so. This is what we typically cover, where you'll definitely get an answer within an hour. For the US, we're currently hiring someone for the US market that will also cover US working hours, at least East Coast working hours. So you'll be able to get an answer faster as well. So for the US, sometimes if you reach out very late in the US, then it might take a few hours until we're back in the office to reply to this, right? Other than that, you can also call us. So we have phone support, we have chat support. You can reach out through email. So we are very accessible, however you want it. But most importantly, we also have a huge FAQ area and a knowledge base, so you can find a ton of things there with YouTube videos and explainer videos and everything. So we really have a very comprehensive set of a very comprehensive knowledge base.
All right, thanks a lot. Your tool looks like very big, I would say, in features. So I hope people will find it useful and will join Sellics. So thanks a lot for this session, and good luck.
Thank you. And I'll talk to you next time then, okay?
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.